What is your learning path for success? Hi, everybody. Welcome to the KC CHIROpulse Podcast, brought to you by CATS Consultants and Chiro Health USA. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Perusich, and I'm joined with my guest host today, Dr. Kelly Fredricks, who's one of our amazing CATS coaches. Kelly, how are you?
Hello, Doc. I'm good. How are you doing today?
Awesome. I'm fantastic. I'm so glad you're here because you're the perfect person to talk to about this. I want to talk about the continuous learning. How do we put it? The continuous learning lineage of success and why chiropractic education, continuous education, is so important to the business side of our practice.
Yes, absolutely. I'm excited to talk about it today.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I know a lot of us spend a lot of time every year making sure that we can get our continuing education credits, which is important. It's important to get those, obviously, because why? Because we want to maintain our license. But education really goes way beyond just getting those CEUs every year. We really need to keep up with a lot of different things because the industry changes, innovations change, there's new therapies that are always coming out, and really staying on the leading edge of education. We can call it development. Is really important to success, no matter what business you're in.
Yeah, definitely. And we don't know what we don't know. So there's new things that we can learn, we can uncover. And from that learning process, it could change the trajectory of your practice, of your life. It's a hard word to say. It could change everything for you. Yeah, it's good to find new things to learn and stay fresh, right? We do the same thing every day. And sometimes that can get a little boring. And
it does get a little monotonous at times. Yeah.
And if you're like me, I have shiny object syndrome. So I'm always looking at all the other stuff. So the continuous development keeps me honed in on what I really need to be focusing on and what we need to be intentional about in our lives.
Yeah. And being intentional, for me, that's a big word because I think we have to be intentional about everything. And we're intentional about getting great outcomes for our patients. But that's not all there is to practice. You can be the best practitioner in the world, but if you don't run a good business, guess what? Not going to get the opportunity to be the best chiropractor in the world. The challenge, I think, with education for doctors is the fact that we've got to balance this, got to get our CEUs with got to learn how to run our practices more. And I think it's somewhat unfortunate that in the chiropractic education paradigm of credits towards our license, that we don't get the opportunity to spend time learning how to run a great practice, because to me, that's just so important.
I know. I agree. It's like they put us out on an island all by ourselves and say, okay, here's your license, figure it out. And, and that's how I felt early on in my career. I was constantly trying to learn about new techniques, being the best doctor that I could, the best clinician. And then all of a sudden, then you realize, wow, I really do not know anything about business. And I have a business background. My undergrad,
you and I both do.
Yeah, my undergrad is in business. And then you realize, holy cow, how do I plug business in with chiropractic, and how do we mold them together so we can be successful?
Okay, so where does all that fit in? We've got patient management. Okay, that's our doctoring ability. That's our doctor's education. But we also have to know how to manage the practice, how to manage people. We have to know what the HR laws are. We have to know how to build a proper procedure manual. We have to know how to teach our staff. We have to have at least some basic understanding of financial planning and finances and accounting. Because my gosh, at a bare minimum, we need to know how to read a P&L. And then there's marketing. There's our leases for our practice space, different loans and things that we might take out. What are the strategies behind those kind of things? And then there's the whole legal side of running a practice too. And I don't just mean the malpractice component. There's so many other legalities built in there. Probably spend and don't realize it. Probably 75 to 80% of our time really needs to be spent in just managing the business side.
Right. And learning and running the practice.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Gosh, I'm just figuring out myself 10 years in about things that I didn't know about because I'm looking to get a new space for my office. And you just said going over leases, and also just knowing the vernacular of real estate and what do all the acronyms mean and what do I need to be looking out for and how do you shop for a new space. I feel like I could have taken a 101 class before I started this process because I am learning so much along the way. And it's taken up a ton of my time. So
it does. It does. Just the sheer fact of spending the time to go look at properties and understanding what does a triple net mean and those kind of things. And if you're not careful, here's the crazy thing. If you're not careful, you will get caught in a trap and you'll spend way more money than you needed to.
Yes.
And you'll wind up with something you didn't really want.
Yes.
Yeah. So you got to be really careful. So I'm getting the red light to do a quick message from our sponsor. So when we come back, I want to continue talking about this whole idea of business professional development and how we build those business skills and those kind of things. So quick word from our sponsor, and we will be right back, everybody.
In today's economy, every dollar counts. Families are facing tough choices, having to reconsider what was once essential to them. When it comes to healthcare, no one should have to compromise on their well-being because of financial constraints. That's where Chiro Health USA steps in, the solution for your practice. We understand the financial pressures families are under, whether they're insured, on Medicare, or paying out of pocket for treatment. By offering discounts on care, you can ensure that your patients can still afford the treatment they need. At Chiro Health USA, we're committed to making sure no family has to sacrifice their health due to financial hardship. We'll work with you to create a game plan that keeps your waiting room full and your practice thriving. And here's the best part. Offering affordable care not only benefits your patients, but also positively impacts your bottom line. So why wait? Join Chiro Health USA today and join the ranks of the most successful practices. Because when you put your patients first, everyone wins.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the KC CHIROpulse Podcast, brought to you by CATS Consultants and Chiro Health USA. I'm Dr. Michael Perusich, and I'm here with Dr. Kelly Fredricks, and we're talking about the importance of continuous learning for success. And I think we've laid the framework of why this is incredibly important. But where do you go to get some of this knowledge?
Right. And how do we do it in a timely manner? I think that's really important as well, because it's got to fit into our small spaces. So there's so much available today through podcasts like ours. Utilize your downtime in the car. So what can you access through e-learning? What can you access through virtual learning? What can you access through things that you can listen to? I have a lot of the learning that I do is all right on my phone. So when I'm out walking the dog or I'm out at the gym trying to get in my self-care, I'm also listening to things that I'm learning along the way. And that helps me try and cram in as much as I possibly can and feel like I'm feeling fulfilled, both from a business standpoint, but then also from a personal standpoint as well.
Sure. And shameless plug, at CATS Consultants, we've done a lot of that work for you. Most of our program can be accessed online through our app right on your phone. And you've got access to all this great business information that we boiled down to, here's what you need to know.
And what's great about that too, is that there's small chunks. So you can get through several topics in a very short amount of time. If you find yourself with a 20, 30-minute commute to work, you can get through 2 topics, business topics, and it's super helpful. It's super easy and it's really quick.
Absolutely. And there's other opportunities out there as well. I see things on LinkedIn and things like that all the time. Great little seminars and workshops that I'll jump into. I'm a big fan of John Maxwell and Simon Sinek and Brian Tracy and some of those big gurus of business and motivation and those kind of things.
Yeah.
So it's really important to figure out ways to immerse yourself in those kind of things as well, because too much of one thing, too much CEU education, and you're going to just be on that path to burnout. And yes, that's great for helping you with patient outcomes. But what about the business outcomes? We've got to think about that too. And you said it, we've got to make time for that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to make time. And then also I feel like honing in on your particular niche is going to be really important as well, because there's a lot of amazing business podcasts right now that are chiropractic related that go towards maybe the patient base that you want to see. So I'm a pediatric chiropractor. So I do a lot of my learning on pediatric marketing and what is the niche of my practice. So I feel like I'm not wasting my time listening to a bunch of stuff that really isn't going to help my business. So that's important too. You have to be picky and choosy with how you're spending your time.
Yeah. And that's very true. So you really have to understand your business model to make that work as well. In our mastermind program, we spend a lot of time talking about your purpose and those kind of things and really defining who's your target market, because that does help define what kind of extra business knowledge you need. Because it's not the same. If you're a geriatric practice, you certainly don't want to be marketing like Kelly does in a pediatric practice. It's totally different.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and plugging into programs like this, and obviously you're already plugged in, and be sure to subscribe too, by the way, but plugging into those chiropractic related business programs, and it is really important, because on those, you're going to pick up a lot of practice tips and different strategies and little ideas and just some nuggets along the way that can really help you. Even if it's one little thing, it may help you grow your practice by tens of thousands of dollars.
Exactly. And also too, I love one thing about our group is that sometimes you're learning new things from the other docs as well. So you might be talking to a doc and they're like, oh, I just learned this and it made a huge difference with my staff. I just learned, I just took a leadership seminar. I think that it'd be really helpful to you. Talking amongst other chiropractors is really helpful too, because they may be learning things that could be helpful to your business as well. Or it could be opposite. They could say, stay away from this. It was a giant waste of time.
Right. Exactly. And make sure that you're not just talking to your friend across the state or 3 states away that says, oh, I heard this from so-and-so who heard it from so-and-so who maybe heard it from somebody else, because there's a lot of disinformation out there.
Yes.
So make sure that your resources of knowledge are spot on, because my gosh, you can get in trouble really quick in this profession. Healthcare can be very litigious. We have a lot of legal rules that we have to walk the line on. And it's little things like, do you have your cash service fees set up correctly? If you don't, wow, you can really get in trouble pretty darn quick if you're not following things like No Surprises Act, or you're not documenting and diagnosing correctly. That can cost you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that are really built into that. So Kelly, what would be the one tip that you would give somebody of, okay, you're getting ready to go into practice. You really need to know how to do this.
Oh, one tip, find a coach. That is always my tip. Find a mentor, find a coach, get support, because the sooner you do, the faster you can get moving in your practice. Because I feel, just me, for example, I spun my wheels for a while thinking, oh, I can figure this out. I can figure this out. And then I realized how much time I was wasting. And so then I started looking at other coaches and other groups, and you don't have to recreate the wheel. Get in with a great coach that is supportive and has more knowledge than you have. All the amazing athletes, they all have coaches, right? So I believe in coaches as well. So that is always going to be my biggest advice right there.
And it's funny, not to be trite, but that's exactly the same thing I was going to say. You have to have a great mentor. And Dr. David Katz was my mentor and became my mentor even before I graduated from chiropractic school. And what a difference it made in my practice. And it was such a springboard to success coming right out of school.
Yeah. And when it's great, obviously, to have a chiropractic mentor. That's what I was talking about in the beginning, but there's so many other amazing mentors that you can have as well. It could just be someone else that's been in business for a really long time.
Yep.
Take them to coffee and just start asking them questions. Pick their brains. What did you learn? What would you change? The more that you can ask questions and the more that you can talk to people, the more that they can help guide you, because they've been there and done it before you have.
That's one of the things that I did in practice early on. Was I went to a lot of civic organizations like Kiwanis Club and Optimus Club. And every time there was a speaker, which was every time we had a meeting, I would go up to that speaker after the end. And instead of saying, hey, I'm a new chiropractor in town, let me know if you ever need to get adjusted, I would go up to him and say, great talk. You're obviously very successful and a leader in the community. Can I take you to coffee tomorrow morning? And I just want to pick your brain. And I built so many mentors in the community just by doing that. And little side secret to that, they refer a lot of people to you when you do that as well.
They do. Well, and also we had an instance in our office last week that there was some questions on a few things. And I was like, I have no idea what to even do in this situation. So I went to my arsenal of mentors and I called up an attorney friend and I said, where should I be going? Who should I be talking to? And just because I had taken the time to already build up that relationship with him, he was so helpful.
Yeah.
And, so having multiple, whether that's an attorney, whether that's, you have to have a good CPA, have those other business mentors in line as well. So you can pick up the phone and ask questions when you need to and just get a good referral from them as well.
Yeah. Such great points. So everybody, I think the whole moral of the story today is make sure you're getting business-oriented education, not just chiropractic education.
Yes.
During your tenure in practice, get a mentor and find a good coach and plug into programs like this where you're getting that weekly dose of business knowledge and gaining some new tips and new ideas for your practice. Kelly, anything to add?
No, I think that's fantastic. That's exactly what
Awesome.
I would.
All right, everybody, if you haven't done it so far, go to katzconsultants.com. Check out what we're doing for doctors and how we're helping mentor them to great success in their practices. There's all kinds of free downloads on there, so check those out. And I want to thank one of our sponsors, Chiro Health USA. We appreciate you guys as well. All right, everybody, be sure to tune in every week to the KC CHIROpulse Podcast, brought to you by Katz Consultants and Chiro Health USA. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Katz Chiropractic Consultants, your partner in chiropractic success. We are dedicated with one-on-one guidance to bring you all your practice management needs. Let's supercharge your practice. Give us a call today